Hello, I'm Jennifer Karnowski, and I'm here to talk about an analysis that I have done on the patterns in private construction spending in the United States from 2002 through 2013, with partial data for 2014. This data was sourced from the U.S. Census Bureau, and I completed this task to identify trends and abnormalities, as well as to suggest, where possible, what root causes might have led to those identified trends. We will first define construction as it relates to this data, as well as specify what is meant by the term spending or value of construction put in place. Next, I will identify the trend of seasonality in both production and demand, after which I will share some possible reasons for that seasonality. Finally, we will take a closer look at an abnormality within private construction spending and identify possible causation. First, let's identify what's meant by the term construction. For the purposes of this presentation, we will include the broad definition that is all buildings and structures, including everything from additions, reconstructions, and replacements. We exclude costs incurred because of maintenance, repairs, land acquisition, and the cost of heavy machinery. Spending, or value of construction put in place, is a measure of the value of construction installed or erected at a site during a given period, which includes the cost of materials, contractor's profit, overhead, and taxes. Projects are classified as privately owned or government-owned. The distinction is made on the basis of ownership during the construction period. For more detailed definitions, please visit the U.S. Census Bureau webpage. Now, let's take a look at the seasonality pattern in production. As you can see by the orange line, each year is composed of a gradual increase in spending, followed by a peak, followed by a steep decrease. The blue line shows the average, which indicates that even when overall spending is up or down, the seasonal pattern remains consistent. How does this apply to demand? Unsurprisingly, spending and demand follow the same seasonal trend. This image gives us a closer look at each 12-month cycle within our dataset. The red line indicates the average, and each of the cycles follows a very similar pattern. Why would this be the case? Let's look at possible causes. The weather is ideal during spring. It offers a great middle ground between freezing winter and sweltering summer. Construction crews work more efficiently when the weather is good. Not to mention there are fewer weather-related delays, meaning projects are completed quicker. If private construction is done with the intent to sell, newly renovated homes tend to attract more potential buyers, so having the project done before summer makes it stand out in a saturated market. Planning renovations or constructions after winter holidays are over and summer is still ahead means the project won't conflict with vacations, traveling, and family activities. It's also worth mentioning that you can get amazing deals on supplies in the spring by taking advantage of discounts on previous season's materials. Summer is the time to buy, so it's too late to build and still capitalize on the tendency for moves that occur outside of the school year when demand is high and instant gratification is a perk people will pay for in order to get into the properties quickly. Although certain industries are counter-cyclical to economic downturns, home building is certainly not recession-proof. Let's see what that looks like in private construction spending. The shaded area shows a transition in private spending from steady growth to a more rapid decline that coincides with the 2007 housing market crash. Surprisingly, public spending remains stable and even shows a slight increase in spending. What does this mean? Private construction spending is susceptible to the volatility of the market, while public spending appears not to be. Additionally, public spending even seems to fill gaps in development not being met by private construction spending. To conclude, we discussed definitions of construction as well as what is meant by the term spending or value of construction put in place. Then, we identified the trend of seasonality in both production and demand, after which we determined some possible reasons for that seasonality. Finally, we take a closer look at an abnormal pattern within private construction spending and identify possible causation and relevant spending reactions. Thank you for your time.